Why did you choose to come back and call Fort Smith home?
Yeah.
I mean, you could have been in Bora Bora. You could have been so many places.
Your community is like your people. And that's not where my people were. That's not where my family was. It's not where my friends are. You could be anywhere in the world and I think still feel lonely. I'm very blessed to have wonderful people in my life here. So this is home. When you have the time, you don't necessarily have the resources or the energy, and then vice versa. When you get older, you do have resources and maybe the flexible time, but do you have the energy or the health to be able to travel and do the things? I'm moving to more of a place of optimizing the resources you have when you have them. I have to say, once I've officially been a part of the mission of United Way, I love it even more.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I'm joined by Maddie Stojanovic, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
The Resource Development Director at United Way of Fort Smith. Maddie has such an inspiring journey in both her career and her community work, so I can't wait for her to tell us your story.
Yeah, well, please don't ask me to say your last name.
Listen, I've been practicing over here, and I still messed up.
It's okay. It's
Stojanovic.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Got it.
That's wonderful. Like I said, not saying
thanks to our husbands.
Name.
Yeah.
I know it. I know we could definitely relate. I think when you had asked me to come and join and just talk about life and my experience and things like that, I think there's nothing more humbling than being invited to talk about your experience and just life and to share that. And so I just want you to know I'm very appreciative of you to even seek out myself and to even get to share here. So it means a lot. Also, I come from a place of anything that I share today, it's an understanding of the fact that I don't know everything and that I was given a lot in life. And I've had so many people that have poured into me and allowed me opportunities. And so I think I just come from a place of being grateful and wanting to share that with other people too. So just as a preface of all the things, but a little bit about me and about my story. So I was born and raised in Fort Smith for the most part. And it's funny, I know we were talking with Joe earlier, but we had at some point lived in Little Rock for a little bit, and I was actually part of that too, lived in Bryant. But really my childhood was spent in school and playing a lot of athletics and sports and following my dad. So he's in banking and has been for a long time. And so my mom was a teacher and educator. And I think I sat front row to hard work. They both worked really, really hard in their careers. And my mom around the house too. And when life ultimately led to me graduating high school at Greenwood, I think that when it came time for me to make decisions on where and what is next, I always dreamed of going and doing things what I considered bigger or better.
Away from Greenwood.
Yeah. And Fort Smith too.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so thankful God had other plans for me, because in the most amazing way, I think that the opportunities and the life that I've been able to live in Fort Smith has been so valuable, and I just don't know that I could have ever found that anywhere else. So volleyball ultimately kept me at UAFS. That was the thing that stuck. And I played there for a couple years on and off, got involved on campus. It's a wonderful university. And in my preparations for graduation in my last year, my senior year, I think that was the point at which I just had so much exposure to the community through a couple different programs that the college had. And through that, we had a community leadership certificate where you have a couple community leaders actually teaching the class, and they expose you to a whole network of them. And then when they come in, they'll talk to you about like what are the plans for Fort Smith, what's happening, all of the exciting things. Like I can hear the jets right now above, you know.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But like when I got to see, like just get a little glimpse of all of the energy and the development that's going to be happening here, I just like made the decision, like if I can make my career work when I graduate here, I want to do that. And there was just this one-off experience. There's a career services organization inside the school, and they connected me with a little stipend position in my spring semester in my last year. And it was to direct the canvassing efforts for the Fort Smith Public School millage campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that was my first introduction to what a campaign is. But at that point, I got to see a lot of community leaders at work pushing for continued investment in the community and availability to quality education for all the kids here, and which leads to opportunity, you know, for them. And I was so excited to be a part of that, and that's actually what led to my first role at the bank locally, First National. So just through, again, opportunities that were provided to me, I just was excited to be a part of that. But then it also led to my first role at First National. And for 5 years, 5.5 years, I had the pleasure of getting to work there with the most amazing team. Again, they gave me so much opportunity. I had primarily 2 different roles the first couple years. I was able to kind of like help lead marketing and community relations efforts.
I can see you being so great at that.
Oh, so sweet. Thank you. And then the last three years, I was over Prestige Platinum, which was a travel club. And I would help host just trips and just be there to give them the most excellent service that I could. And I think hospitality deeply is something that I really resonate with. I love taking care of people and just cooking and just creating experiences in life. I think it just makes a lot of lived experiences sometimes more valuable and just memorable. So through that, I needed to slow down traveling because at that time, Ducey and I had been married, and we met in school because he came from Serbia to play basketball where I played volleyball. So at that point, we had been married around 5 years, and we're thinking more about a family. And so I had made a transition to kind of slow down on the traveling, and I had the wonderful opportunity again. So Erin with ArcBest, Erin Gaddis, she was one of my mentors in school. Another blessing. She's an amazing person and just really allowed me a lot of opportunities just to connect and learn from her. But through that, I was able to connect and learn about an opportunity to help develop corporate social responsibility from the more community relations perspective, because there's an internal side and an external side. And I feel like I had some good exposure and opportunity from the external to bring into ArcBest. And so such a wonderful company that does so much in our community. And I have to say that about First National too, because like in both organizations, I was deeply exposed to community impact and need. And at the center of both of those was United Way. So I was so grateful for my time at ArcBest. And then Shay is just a deeply good friend of mine. And I just felt really called, honestly. He had been calling me a couple times to move over to United Way. And the mission was so clear to me, and I've always been exposed to it. At that time, I'd been in the workforce probably 8 years. And in all of my 8 years, I had just really seen the impact that United Way supports. And so I was excited to be a part of that. So all of that being said, I know I'm talking a lot.
No, I love learning more about you.
Led me there to United Way.
Well, because you and I have met through Leadership Fort Smith this year, and I have just really enjoyed our conversations, but I'm learning more about you during this conversation as well. So no, keep going. I feel like you have such a hearty resume.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I do have to ask,
Yeah.
where was your favorite place to travel? I know Serbia is going to be like one of them because of your husband.
Yeah.
But for work, though.
I love the Mediterranean. So the diverse destinations that I was able to go to, again, given that I was this little 22-year-old girl, I would never could have done this, outside of the bank and in that situation. So very grateful for it. But I mean, we were like riding camels in front of the pyramids in Egypt and like hiking down to the treasury in Petra in Jordan and Bora Bora.
That's incredible.
And all of the places there in France on a river boat, and just like I am extremely lucky to have had those experiences, and it's not lost on me that was very much so just, I think, the exposure to the role that I was in. But I do have to say, I think that the exposure to those cultures has like really made me appreciate so much more, just added perspective in life. And I think you probably feel that way too, through your marriage with MK, and just learning. It's so valuable to be surrounded by people that are different than you. And it's challenging, but that's
There's
one of my
much to learn, though.
So much. And it's so funny. I mean, I'm born and raised. Sorry, there's a fly here. I'm born and raised in this area, but the perspective that I've gained just through traveling and being married to my husband and my grandma, I mean, I was trying to think of like, who am I? Like, what are my roots? And my grandma's from Vietnam. And so I have this whole side. I mean, I learned to use chopsticks when I was 4, probably. And then my dad's side, like that was my mom's side. My dad's side is from Waldron. Like the roots go back way, way deep there, and like blueberry farm owners, and like just chocolate gravy on the weekends is what
You've got the best of both worlds.
I do.
Not only growing up, but now being married too.
Yeah.
And especially for your little one too.
It's made me better for it. I think it's very challenging to see things and how people do and why they do different things the ways that they do. And I'm really grateful for that perspective at a young age, because I hope it can make me better in the long run.
Well, I just have to say I'm jealous. That's it. Well, so we've talked about you spending time traveling in your previous roles, and after seeing so many places, why did you choose to come back and call Fort Smith home? Yeah. I mean, you could have been in Bora Bora. You could have been so many places. You were married, though, right?
I was. Yeah. So I was married at that point. I mean, that was really probably 4 or 5 years of marriage. So we were definitely like wanting a family. I think that's something that I've always cared about, is the opportunity to have one if I could. I also think that your community is like your people. And that's not where my people were. That's not where my family was. It's not where my friends are. You could be anywhere in the world and I think still feel lonely or just not at home. And so, getting to be with my people just means so much to me. And I think I'm very blessed to have wonderful people in my life here. So this is home.
I hope that I'm creating that for my children. Because when you say that, because we've moved around quite a bit, but when you say that, it just makes me think, especially you talking about UAFS and everything. I have a senior right now, and we're talking about where does he want to go to college and all the things. So hearing more about your experience at UAFS and all the opportunities and doors that were open for you there is really great for me to hear right now, because it warms my heart. Yeah. Not knowing that much about UAFS.
Absolutely. It was a wonderful school. I still go back. I sit on several boards that they have there, just with the College of Business and some others. I think that God always has a plan too. And it's sometimes overwhelming to get to those places in life where you have to make those big decisions, but it's like the storyline's already there and you shouldn't feel overwhelmed. This is like a deep characteristic of mine, but I've heard once that you can process anxiety as anxiety or excitement. Like you can literally make that choice. And so often up until this point in my life, I've always been so anxious. So I'm thankful to be at a point where I'm starting to like take a step back, take a deep breath, and just know that it is going to work out. And just, I think, utilize the opportunity to be excited instead.
You just made a light bulb go off in my mind hearing that quote from you.
It literally just shifted everything for me. It's like, I'm so anxious, and like I have this just fast moving hamster wheel all the time. My legs get tingly if I sit still too long. I just gotta do, but
trying to savor more.
Yeah, enjoy the people, enjoy the time that you have. And then when I was thinking about traveling too, and my perspective on it nowadays, it's changed because I think through my experience with the bankroll, I learned very quickly that life can be hard. It's kind of against you in some ways, where when you have the time, you don't necessarily have the resources or the energy, and then vice versa. So like when you get older, you do have resources and maybe the flexible time, but like, do you have the energy or the health to be able to travel and do the things? So it's just, I don't know. I'm moving to more of a place of like optimizing the resources you have when you have them, because life is so seasonal. And I don't know, I think you just have to kind of seize what you can do when you can do it and be okay with that. And
I've talked to my mom about this several times, is just enjoying each season of life that you're in. So you've had several different ones between your jobs and your marriage and now having a young child, and you've still accomplished so much. That's and so you still are on a daily basis. So it's incredible.
Well, thank you. Especially nowadays, like my support system is 100% my husband. He's just the most amazing person. And he'll just literally, I think our thing is just like teamwork, and he does so much, and I try to help wherever I can too. And we just don't necessarily look at everything that we're contributing, and you just give and you don't.
Oh, you're not keeping score. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great to hear. So for listeners who may not be familiar, can you explain what United Way of Fort Smith does and how it impacts our community?
Yes. Yeah. So I think like I'd mentioned earlier, it's through about 9 years of experience of what United Way did. I had that perspective from the outside in, and now I have that perspective from the inside out. Like, how does it actually work? And I love it even more. I have to say, like, once I've officially been a part of the mission of United Way, I'm closer to the needs. I didn't really anticipate taking phone calls occasionally from people that need help and things. I think I thought maybe I'd be more in a bubble and just like fundraising and then getting to support the mission. But like sometimes it gets really personal and you hear, and that's why I have so much respect for anybody who works in direct service agencies, because daily they are the hands and feet of the work that we fundraise to support. So United Way, essentially, as easy as I can put it, is the little connection between people who are living their lives, contributing, going to work every day, doing their thing, but like we link them to the need where they live and where they exist. So specifically, the United Way of Fort Smith is very special. And I don't think that many people understand how lucky they are to have this organization the way that it's structured here in Fort Smith. But the United Way of Fort Smith area, so we have 6 counties, 2 Oklahoma, 4 Arkansas. We received a gift from the former CEO of Baldor in 1990. He gave $4.7 million to United Way.
I did not know that.
So in 1990, Raleigh Borum gave $4.7 million to United Way. It was put into an investment fund for 20 years. Nobody touched it. Since 2011, it's grown so much so that we now just take 5% every year perpetuity off of that investment, and that is our budget.
Wow.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So the cool thing about that is we were just talking about it yesterday, Shay and I, but we're over $11 million now for that investment. 5% of that every year is our budget. So we literally have a building that's paid for. We have 5 staff members located in downtown Fort Smith that's paid for. Our lights are paid for. Everything we do is completely funded. So when you think about United Way, then and the money that we raise does not get touched for any of our services, but it goes 100% back to the community.
I'm glad you opened my eyes to that. For sure.
That's one of the main reasons why I fell in love with the mission, is like, especially being the fundraising component of the office. That's my job.
Mm-hmm.
So I go out and we partner with 50 to 80 organizations every year. I mean, on the higher end of that. And the bread and butter of United Way is payroll deduction. So I go in, I get to talk about 31 nonprofits that we partner with, their missions, how they serve our community, which if you think of like vital human services, that's like a really good way to understand our impact, and education, just like so many things in there. But I go and I talk to these companies and I visit with all their employees. We probably speak and are in contact with, if you look at the total employees from all of these companies, we're like 20,000 to 25,000 employees, at least in Fort Smith. So, but like I said, our primary cause and what we do is we give you a little slip of paper and you can pledge to give every pay period. And then you would just not believe how much those few little dollars from everyone really add up every year. So like last year we raised almost $1.5 million, and we're on track to exceed that this year, which is very exciting.
That is exciting. So what are some of the needs in our community that y'all have been able to assist with that are like top priority right now?
Yeah. And I think it's really interesting question, because given your own perspective, it could look different. I saw a statistic from an article posted last Friday that 33% of the homes in Sebastian County are food insecure. And a basic need that people have to eat, which affects everything, their ability to learn, their ability to contribute, to go to work, to do things. I think that just like blew me away. It's around 29% for Arkansas, I believe, but Sebastian County is in the top 5 counties in the state of Arkansas that has that level of food insecurity. So
I can see that though. Grocery prices are astronomical.
They are.
So yeah.
They are. So I think just all things said and done, I don't know if I completely clarified about United Way, but we have 31 nonprofits that we support their missions, and they are just, I could not brag on them enough. I mean, literally any resource that they have, they multiply it and they stretch it and they make it work and they serve the people and do so much good in our community. So without them, it's just, people would just be in more need. So it's very, very simple. But I'm so thankful for the opportunity to get to serve our community this way. It's draining this time of year. It's technically campaign season, which just means we're really reaffirming people's want to give all across our partner companies. But I just, it's so worth it. And the momentum that I feel in the world right now, I could talk about this a lot, but, since 2020, I think the world and the way that people prefer to interact has changed drastically. COVID gave people the ability to hit the reset button on a lot of facets of their life and cut different areas off if they were exhausted, didn't really feel like doing the social engagement sort of thing. Or we're nervous about it. I mean, it was a lot of, uncertainty, and people process that differently. But in the business environment. And what that did to United Way and what that did to the local community was it really tied people up, and it made them get very concerned about their own household, which you get it. Like, I understand. Everyone had to survive and make sure that they were healthy and that they weren't going to lose their job, and no one knew what the economy was going to do. But it's taken years for that to kind of unravel and people to learn again that they care about connecting with other people and put that energy forth. But I think that I'm very excited because this year I see a lot of indicators that the world is wanting to get back to the good old days. I think they miss each other.
I think that from the aspect of COVID and just needing the socialization, I mean, still being able to prioritize what that looks like. But for United Way, I think it's important for people who are in this community to know what others are needing at this time. And if they're able to contribute, that it's a huge thing to be able to do to support others.
Yes. And I'm really excited to get to share a little bit about how that works too, because it's not really a detail that I necessarily really was concerned about, but I see the validity in it now. But when United Way has their annual campaign and we have this pot of money that we raise every year, you may ask, like, how does that get distributed? Or like, how do you know what goes where? Well, the neat thing about United Way is that we really leverage community input through that process. We rely on it. In fact, like when we go through that allocation process is what we call it, the United Way staff is literally completely off to the side and not a part of that discussion whatsoever. So we bring in 60 volunteers and they're broken up into panels. Those panels go and they'll visit our agencies. Our agencies are required to have, full independent audits and 990s and all of these sort of financial documents and good standings. And they also want to see, like, what projects do you have going? What have you done since we were here last year? They really care and want to know about how are those funds getting invested back in the community. And then they'll come together at the end of all of those visits, and they actually make the recommendation to our board as to where every dollar will get invested that next year. So they're never guaranteed to get the same amount every year or anything like that. And then based on the needs that change, because that's very natural, that community needs shift, they're able to pivot and make those recommendations. So it's a very transparent process. We're not a part of any of that. So kind of my job is to go out and be the cheerleader for all of our agencies and talk about the work that they do. And then given them the funds that we raise, our community is the one that makes the recommendations to where it gets reinvested.
I love the due diligence on making sure the money is where it needs to be and that it's ever evolving because just like life, things change. So I like that a lot.
It's also like, I think back to your question a few minutes ago, but you're like, what are the most pressing needs? But the cool thing about United Way is like they assess all of the needs and then they allocate funds as they are needed. So if you just generally want to do good, you literally could just give through the campaign and then the community makes those 30,000 foot level views of like what are the needs all across our community and how can we impact those. So it's a really neat process.
I'm glad I'm learning more about it. So balancing your career, family, and community leadership can't be easy. How do you manage it all, Maddie?
I don't. Honestly, I don't.
You talked about teamwork with your husband. So he's, a crucial role in everything as well. So.
Absolutely. I don't know that I have a lot to give on this. I feel like I am nowhere close to perfect. And I look back and I'm always like, how could I do things differently? Or am I doing this enough? I have a little 18-month-old boy and am I giving him enough of my time? Am I doing my work well? I know you completely understand that for babies of your own. And then you're just like the most go-getter entrepreneur. I love it. And I don't know how you do it. I feel like I could learn from you on this.
No. Has anybody ever told you that you burn the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that a
Yeah.
lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Absolutely. Maybe that goes back to our just like high functioning anxiety and
no excitement now. Excitement now.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
changing
right.
my
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks
yes.
for the reminder.
No.
It's true.
Well, speaking of your 18-month-old, you're giving him such an amazing role model, not only as a mom, but to look up to. So I know that sometimes you may feel you need more time, which definitely take it whenever it's available, but always know that you're making such an impact even now.
That's so sweet. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. So, what advice would you give young professionals in our area who want to get more involved in service and leadership? You touched on a lot of things with UAFS, which I love because now I'm going to tell my 17-year-old all the things, or I may just phone a friend.
Me, you can call me anytime.
Yes.
No, I look back and probably some of my cornerstones that have really just kind of changed the trajectory for me and just where I ended up. You have to seize opportunities when they come. And even if you don't feel qualified, because I totally struggle with like imposter syndrome. Do you know what that is?
Yes, I do. And I understand it. Yeah.
So like I could look at myself and come up with any narrative as to why I don't deserve or am qualified enough for any role. I could talk myself out of anything. But I know I mentioned that millage, that little role that I took when I was in college. I didn't even know what a millage was at the time.
I learned in Ohio when they were passing different for the district that I was living in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But at the time, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Had no clue what a millage was. But I think that's part of the beautiful thing about life is just like, and that would be my recommendation to others wanting to just get out and start their career and just get involved. But when those opportunities come up, just do it because I think it allows you a lot of good exposure and opportunity to connect with others. So,
well, I don't think that I understand what you're saying about imposter syndrome, but your CV is, again, beefy enough that nobody should ever feel that way about you. But if you feel that way, that's a different story. So before we close, what's one thing you want people listening today to know about United Way of Fort Smith?
Mm-hmm. I think that if I could leave anyone listening with a little piece of advice, it's just that I've kind of seen it from both sides. I saw it from the side where I participate in payroll deduction, and I've now been experienced to the side of leading the community impact that we've been allowed to through that giving. And I have to say, I don't think that they would mind, but we also run an internal campaign at United Way because we all have jobs and we all have the opportunity to give through payroll. And I thought I was giving before. I'll just say that. But these people, they give, but they also give their entire lives to the mission of the work. And there's nothing but transparency through every process that we do, and the impact that we have through the support of the community is just, it's reliant on the support of the community. But I have to say, like, the team, the quality of people that I get to work with every day, they have shown me what generosity looks like, and I'm better for it.
You're sweet coworkers.
They're the best.
I love that for you. So for anyone who's inspired to get involved, what's the best way to get connected, to volunteer, or what other opportunities do other people have with United Way?
We have so many platforms. It's like we've got an awesome website that's just updated. You can find a lot about our agencies there. We've got all of our contact info there. We also are really active on like Facebook and Instagram. We're always talking about what we get to do with all of our companies that partner with us. Also, reach out to me personally if you ever need anything. I'm always happy to connect you however I can. And then I do want to mention, so this year we just recently updated. It's a community resource guide. So if you ever have a specific need, whether it be food or shelter, just those basic needs, we've got a whole just list. It's about 60 pages long, and of all of the resources that are in our community, not just our partner agencies. So it's just a very helpful guide, even if like you don't need help, but you come across someone who does. It's called the Community Resource Guide, and it's under our resources tab, but it's just the most valuable resource, I think, just helping people navigate where to get help.
I'm glad I know where that is too now, so I can share it as well.
Yeah, it just got updated this year too, so it's very helpful.
Okay, Community Resource Guide under the Resources tab. Okay, so listen, this has been amazing, and I really appreciate you coming on and taking time out to do this for us. So thank you for telling us more about United Way and your journey and just life in general.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So thankful for you.